I told you that an enslaved African in Mexico escaped, built his own city, and fought off the Spanish for 30 years, becoming the leader of the first free black settlement in the Americas? Meet Gaspar Yanga, the real-life rebel who did just that. Yanga was brought to Mexico in the late 1500s, but he refused to accept his fate. He escaped into the mountains with a group of rebels and founded a hidden community. The Spanish hated this. Yanga's people were freeing more slaves, raiding Spanish settlements, and growing stronger. In 1609, Spain finally sent an army to crush Yanga and his people. But Yanga outsmarted them. His warriors used guerrilla tactics, ambushing the Spanish in the dense jungle. The battle was so fierce, Spain had no choice but to negotiate. In 1618, Spain officially recognized the settlement, making it the first free black town in the Americas. Today, that town is named Yanga, Veracruz, in his honor. Drop a fire emoji in the comments if you think Yanga's story deserves more recognition.
Now, I love that video, and before someone starts typing, there is one correction I would like to add to that video, and that is that it wasn't the first freed settlement. Here's another video that tells you more about that.
San Basilio de Palenque, also known as Palenque de San Basilio or simply Palenque by locals, is a village in Corregimiento situated in the municipality of Majadis, Bolivar, in northern Colombia. Recognized as the first free African town in the Americas, Palenque was declared a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity by UNESCO in 2005. During the era of slavery in Colombia, the Spanish introduced enslaved Africans via the Magdalena River Valley, close to the port of Cartagena de Indias. Some Africans escaped and founded Palenque de San Basilio. Around 1619, led by Domingo Bayojo, who declared himself King Bencos. Despite initial challenges, the Palenque attracted more runaways. Bayojo's Maroons successfully resisted Spanish expeditions, prompting negotiations. However, Bayojo was later captured and executed. Efforts to free enslaved Africans in Cartagena continued, leading to a royal decree in 1691. The Palenque de San Basilio Africans were promised freedom if they stopped accepting escapees, but runaways persisted. Subsequent rebellions were subdued, and peace terms were reached in 1772. Incorporating the Maroon community into the Majadis district, provided they no longer harbored escapees. Palenque de San Basilio, with around 3,500 inhabitants, is nestled in the Montes de Maria foothills, southeast of Cartagena. The term Palenque refers to a walled city, and the village is one of the few surviving walled communities founded by escaped slaves. Afro-Colombians, direct descendants of enslaved Africans, inhabit the village, preserving their ancestral traditions and speaking Palenquero, a Spanish-based Creole language. In 2005, UNESCO recognized Palenque de San Basilio as a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity. The village remains a cultural treasure, where inhabitants, predominantly black, maintain customs and language from their African heritage.
Now, I don't think it really matters too much who was first. And that's the only difference between the two videos, is who was first. But that really doesn't matter. Whether it was in Mexico, whether it was in Colombia, it really doesn't matter. You could even talk about the villages, cities that were free for 30 to 50 years that were founded in Brazil. So who was first doesn't matter. What does matter is that actively, you can be proud of our ancestors who fought against slavery. You can be proud of our ancestors who did not simply try to politically get their way out of it or pray their way out of it or anything of the sort, but they took an active role in getting out of slavery. The reason why the 1804 Haitian Revolution is more prominent and taught a little bit more is simply because it is the first time a slave nation actually was formed. A former slave nation formed their own nation and was able to maintain that nation. You see, there were many slave uprisings throughout history of every country that has ever had slavery. I mean, the Romans had slavery and there was many uprisings. The Arabs had slavery, many uprisings. Other African nations had slavery, many uprisings. Europeans had slavery, uprising. China, everywhere around the world that had slavery, there were many uprisings. Haiti is the only one that established themselves as a nation after their slavery uprising. So only that one established a nation. Others, like these two, they established cities or city states that allow for them to have some level of independence within the confines of the country by which that was enslaving them in the first place. But all of these are to be looked upon as a proud part of our heritage of fighting against being enslaved. And you can take that same mentality to fighting against oppression that we are affected by today, fighting against police brutality and over policing, fighting against government policies that are harmful to our communities, fighting against policies that are de-educating our children, policies that are causing family structures to be broken apart. We can still fight against policies and fight against issues. And if it comes down to blows, then it comes down to blows. But always know that there are ancestors who fought against it. And at no other time should you feel like you cannot fight against whatever situation that you're dealing with, because they were fighting against slavery at a time frame where the morality was you could be butchered for nothing but breathing and being black. So the fact that you have the ability to fight now, never give up, never surrender. Galaxy Quest. But y'all have a great day. Hopefully this educated some more people, but have a great day. And always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.